What a beautiful day.
I know, cold though.
Yeah, but I was marching this morning, so...
I wasn't sure if you'd be on your own or if there'd be a group of you.
Well, no, there is a group of us, but I left a bit ahead of them because I was coming to see you. This is slightly off the route. It's a nice break, and they're going to keep going on a slightly different route.
So where did you start from and where are you finishing?
So we started in Derby.
Yeah.
So that's 9 miles away, actually, on the route that I took.
Yeah.
And then we're finishing in Alfreton.
Okay.
And that's a 20-mile day.
Right.
And we do about 20 miles.
Lot.
We do 20 miles every day, come rain or shine. The really nice thing is it's been mostly shine. We've been very lucky so far.
Yeah, good.
This is beautiful, isn't it? Like when the weather's like this. Absolutely
the dog's
fantastic.
About to have a poo, I think.
Yeah, well, we have a dog too. I know all about that. So tell me, you're trustee of, what's the name of
the Belper Clusters Heritage Group.
Yeah.
So there's 5 of us who are local residents.
Yeah.
And we've been working for quite a while on, well actually the project started because we wanted to do something about these roads.
So what did you want to do with these roads?
Restore them, because all this is World Heritage Site, all of Belper.
Yes.
And there's lots of listed buildings around here. It was all built by the Struts in the Industrial Revolution for mill workers.
Yeah.
And the roads belong to individuals. So each little section in front of the house belongs to that house. Yeah. So they've just got to the point where, they're in a terrible state.
Yes.
This is actually the best one because it's big cobbles.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the start of the project quite a few years ago, and it's kind of grown to be more about community engagement, and we do lots of kind of craft projects, and just recently we did something, a garland trail, where we used handmade ropes and got everybody to put displays out at the front. But yeah, just my background is that I work at the University of Nottingham.
Oh yes.
I do marketing for energy research. Yep. And business support to help businesses become more energy efficient and adopt energy innovation.
Mm-hmm. So were you the leading person on
for the EV,
for the trustee for the EV? So tell me, because this is a World Heritage Site, it must be very difficult to do anything that affects the outside look and feel.
Yeah, this
is
what
talk us through that.
So because I'm doing these kinds of things at work, I started to think, well, I'd like an electric car. How will I do it? And it wasn't going to be easy. So in fact, I couldn't get one. Mm. And then I thought on from that, the fact that they're going to be banned from new cars from 2030 using fossil fuel. I thought, what's the future for a community like this where we have to get permission to change our front door or repair a window or that kind of thing?
Yeah.
And there must be more communities like this all over the country.
Absolutely.
And actually, from looking into it, we found that nobody's really done anything. So then by chance I met Wayne Bexton from Nottingham City Council, and he told me about the Rural Community Energy Fund and encouraged us to apply for it. So we ended up doing a feasibility study for this area on EV charging.
And the council is supportive?
Yeah, they are.
I think
very
Nottingham
supportive.
Council is one of the most progressive councils in the country.
Yeah.
They've got a 2030 net zero target.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So
I think it's 2028 actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess you obviously have to have a council behind you for something like this.
Do you want to walk up a
yes,
bit
please.
more? I can show you one of the other streets.
Yeah, this is lovely.
This is the prettiest street, I think.
Okay, so tell us, because people can't see, tell us what we can see right now.
So these are from the 1700s, these buildings along here, and they were built for workers at the mill, which is just over there, but also for people to work from home. So in the top floors would be workshops.
Oh wow! And it's like 2 long terraces, beautiful cobbled street.
Yeah.
We're walking slightly up the hill. Wonderful old street lamps as we go.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, and yeah, the Struts were a bit like Cadbury's. They were that type of family. I think they were Methodists from memory. Mm-hmm. So they did things like they built schools, they built churches, and they tried to really look after the workers.
Yeah.
And actually, for a long time, nobody really wanted any of these houses. Sort of all through the 70s and the 80s, you know, they couldn't sell them. But then gradually they've become
Can't imagine.
a bit more desirable.
Yeah, absolutely. This is just so picturesque.
Yeah, and actually, if we do a little circuit and we go down the next street,
We'd love to do
there's
that.
some houses, they're known as clusters houses,
Yep.
which is why it's called the clusters area. And I think they're quite unique in the country. You'll see that they're called quarter houses because they're the kind of four houses that are
together in almost like a quadrant, like a quad.
Yeah, it's difficult to
look forward
explain
to that.
till you see them. These railway bridges
that we're walking over now.
well.
Yeah.
So
in the old days, the mill would produce all the cotton and fabrics, and then the train would take it.
That's right, and they did
up and down the country.
nail making and rope making is traditional to the area as well. For the EV charging, we've just had our first meeting with Cenex, who were the company that were successful in taking on the project.
Yeah.
And they're quite interested in looking at ways that they can integrate the EV charging that will be acceptable to the World Heritage people.
So the World Heritage people are obviously the ones that ultimately have to approve it. So you've got council backing and funding, the community members are supportive.
Well, it goes to Amber Valley Borough Council, but I believe that they would also refer to the World Heritage Site Committee.
Yep.
So.
And have you had any direct contact with the World Heritage Site Committee? Like, are they open-minded? Are they receptive to this initiative?
Well, just by chance, one of the trustees in our charity sits on the board with the World Heritage Site for the area.
Yeah.
So that's quite good because, I mean, at some point he might have to excuse himself from a meeting because there'd be a conflict of interest there. But it's good because it means that we know, you know, what we're dealing with and what kind of things we have to think about.
And actually, in many ways, you are trailblazing here because if you can, and I'm sure you will, be able to work something through, because this is already in motion, there are lots of protected sites and World Heritage sites where they would like to have similar things.
That's
like
right.
EV chargers.
Right. In fact, we've already been contacted by Tideswell Parish Council. Yeah. Because they heard through the Midlands Energy Hub, Nottingham City Council, about what we're doing, and they're interested for themselves. So I've sent them lots of information about how we got started, the consultancies that we got in touch with.
And that's fantastic, because in many ways what people would need to see is just an example of success, or somewhere else that's actually managed to do what people elsewhere are thinking of, and that just is a spark that gets them to maybe approach their council or to go to a World Heritage Site again and say, look, you've done it before, you've done it here, can you do the same thing again for our community?
I must admit, I'm hopeful that we'll be successful, but I also know personally in the past I've come across planners that have, you know, very much you have to do it this way or it's a no.
Yes.
But to my mind, I think that kind of attitude can't carry on. It's just down here, because otherwise, what would happen to these communities in years to come? It's not just about us; it's about the next generation when, you know, there are no fossil fuel vehicles left on the road.
Well, like you say, when fossil fuel cars are banned, you still want people living in a beautiful place like this, so therefore you have to come up with a solution for how you charge electric vehicles. And so in many ways, I'd say this is fantastic because you may be providing a solution that can be replicated, I would hope, in many other places.
Yeah, well, one of the things that Cenex were talking to us about was exploring possibilities to hide something in a dry stone wall.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, so...
Yep. But it has to be in keeping with the feel of the place, doesn't it? So you can't have probably your traditional EV charging points that are quite obvious, and sometimes you also see them integrated into lampposts. Yeah. But again, there aren't that many lampposts here, and then probably it'd be just as hard or challenging there because of the design of the lampposts here.
These are the quarter houses.
Yeah. So who would be in those kinds of houses?
They were. I'm just trying to think. I think they were built for like the foreman type roles.
Mm-hmm. So they're a bit bigger.
Yeah,
they're the bosses. So they have the bigger houses.
And it's interesting because they were very thoughtful about the way they designed them. So the north-facing ones have bigger gardens than the south-facing ones.
Why is that?
For them growing their own vegetables.
Oh.
And each one had a little pigsty as well, for if you wanted to keep a pig.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I think there are a couple of the original pigsties still in some of them.
I think it's wonderful that a lot of this heritage is kept intact.
Yeah.
Because too often it gets a bit run down, unloved, and then gets redeveloped in a totally different way as opposed to conserved like this.
They are very strict about what we can do, because not only are we... Oh look, there's a frog walking across the road.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Oh.
We really are in nature here.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful walk coming over. I mean, these are the Derbyshire Dales, aren't they?
Yeah. I
lovely.
saw where you were. It looked like you were in the middle of fields.
Yes,
we were coming over.
We have we're following a path that was laid out to us by Slowways, and Slowways is an organisation that helps map routes from one town to the next, so that you don't have to get in your car.
Go past? Please go.
Yeah.
I don't want him to get run over.
No, there you go. From one pond to another.
That's so cute.
It is.
Come on, Buff. Come on.
So again, these are foremen's houses all on this side.
I think so. I could be telling you wrong, but I think...
Well, they're certainly bigger, aren't they, than the ones we saw on the other row.
Buffy's complaining because we've gone past our house and she thinks she should be going home.
Our dog does that, puts the brakes on.
She's quite old now, so...
How old is she?
She's 13.
She's doing very well. So just a gentle walks these days.
Come on.
Well, we can stop in the sunshine and then...
I've got some treats in my bag, so that might
that always works.
Encourage her. What's this? Come on. There you go.
So if someone else in a similar kind of place where you have, conservation laws and you have to protect the place around you, look and feel wise, any tips for how you begin? Or where you start? Like, for instance, I guess you have to first of all make sure your council's on board and supportive.
Yeah, well,
a lot of community support.
Yeah, it was quite good for us because we're looking at other things like the road and things like that. We'd already made quite a lot of contacts with the council and other people, because eventually we'd like these roads to be adopted.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of contacts already. And we'd also had a Heritage Lottery Fund grant to establish the charity in the first place.
Yeah.
So
the key is really working together, isn't it?
It is,
and then one thing builds on another.
Yeah, and also I think having the right people as part of the group. So I've got contacts through the university. My colleague Dan Greenway in the group, he's an architect, so he's got lots of contacts. He's constructed buildings in conservation areas, so I think and also we've got somebody retired who's in the group, which actually was fantastic when he joined, because the rest of us all working full time.
So you had someone that could give a few more hours.
That's it.
But it is interesting how that's a really powerful mix of people that represent different kinds of organisations, because you're from academia, you've got someone with architecture, building background,
and we've got
council.
We've got 2 teachers as well, and we've got one in particular who's really interested in the heritage of how the community came together for events and to do displays and things like that. So that's her kind of area, working with local artists and getting them involved.
Fantastic. So she's almost a bit like another voice within the community.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Well, I wish you all the success, and we will follow you. We will follow you through the various stages from here through to when you get your EV chargers put in place, and then I'd love to come back.
That would be brilliant. And one thing that we're really keen on is that it's not just about EV charging for us, that we can spread the word, and once we've gone through the experience we can share that and help other people do it as well.
Well, we are there for you. We'd love to do that.
Okay.
So thank you so much.